Welcome to the Infinite Life podcast. I'm your host, Katische Haberfield. This podcast is a journey of discovery as we learn how the soul evolves over various incarnations to understand all about the complexities of being a human being who has to bravely navigate viewing life as a non-dualistic struggle between good and evil through consciousness-raising experiences that test our valor. Welcome back to the Infinite Life podcast with Katische Haberfield. In this week's podcast, we are going back to another of my past lives. And the important thing about this session is the ruby Lemurian crystal. The ruby Lemurian crystal comes from Lemuria, but this podcast episode is not about Lemuria. This podcast episode is about how I find and interact with the Lemurian crystal, which I had access to in a previous past life in Lemuria. Now, I haven't shared that session with you because I haven't actually visited that lifetime yet. I've had myself, who's a Mu person, MU, come to me and explain this connection, but I have yet to do the session with Cindy. That's on the to-do list. So this episode, I'm in a different lifetime that is not Lemurian. It's not in the civilization of Mu. It is way future in Earth from then. But the past from 2024. And in this session, you will see that I come across the red Lemurian crystal, red Lemurian ruby. And this is really important because these rubies no longer physically stored anywhere to my knowledge. They are in the earth because when Atlantis blew up, these red Lemurian rubies sunk deep into the earth. And the reason that it has been so difficult for me to record this podcast episode, it's taken me I think 4 weeks to get this out of my system, even though I recorded this session. The actual past life regression session was over a year, maybe even 2 years ago now. The process of me extracting the knowledge and understanding it and dealing with all the psychological concepts that you're about to hear about in this episode was quite intense for me because it's all about sacred knowledge and the struggles that my soul has had with sacred knowledge. So just really wanted to let you know that a red Lemurian ruby, its purpose is to heal a person and to heal the earth. So I don't know what that means for me for the future, for you for the future, but I know that I had to re-record the intro to make sure that I included that specific piece of information, because once we understand the role of the Lemurian rubies, they will be ready to reveal their hidden knowledge. Please also accept my apologies for the sound discrepancies in this podcast. I had to record the insights that I got at different times over the past 4 weeks, and sometimes I was in my bedroom, sometimes in the kitchen, sometimes the microphone was sitting on my tummy, sometimes it was further away on a table, and the perfectionist in me just wants to re-record all of the sections again, but it has to get out. I have to get over my perfectionism, and I am a one-man, one-woman team on this podcast. I do all of everything, all by myself, editing, everything. So thank you for bearing with the fact that sometimes it sounds like I'm eating the microphone. Namaste. In this week's episode, I'm going to start integrating psychological concepts and constructs into the sessions because I'm able to retrospectively look back at these case studies and identify where there are important and significant things that happen in these lifetimes that form psychological constructs that normal regression therapy sessions and normal Akashic record sessions fail to address. The purpose of including these from now on in the podcast is not to chastise or disillusion anybody, but to bring to light the important integration that is needing to happen within society between the constructs of regression therapy, spirit releasement therapy, apometrics, and psychology and psychiatry. To understand being a human being, we need to understand that we are more than just a simple body. We are more than just a spirit. We are all of the sum of our energy bodies, and our energy bodies reflect the lifetimes that we go through. So all lifetimes are concurrent in the now time, the now space. There is no other time other than now. So everything that is happening to you in all lifetimes psychologically is happening to you now. It really doesn't matter unless you have a series of lifetimes where there are imprints that are so deep because of trauma that they layer on top of each other. And in last week's episode, we addressed that. But this week and from now on in the podcast, I want to give them names and definitions. So there will be a lot of stopping and starting so that you can understand and I can point out some of the concepts as we go along. This week, we are talking about a lifetime which seems to be fairly straightforward. However, there are two important things that I really want to point out when you're listening to this session. Firstly, there is the element of money that we'll be looking at, and also perceptions of knowledge that is sacred and has been lost within humanity and is ripe for exploration now. So you will get out of this session what you're ready to hear, and quite often I can come back to these podcast episodes 6 months, a year, 2 years later and listen to them again and totally see a different aspect that will then teach me something that I completely overlooked when I first listened to or experienced the podcast. Because as we explore our own souls and our own lives, we become more ready as we heal different imprints to learn and take on a different layer of wisdom and understanding and knowledge and insight. One day I'll get around to turning these into books, but until then, it's a really great idea to don't just passively listen to these podcast episodes as stories, but also to reflect on your own journey. Do you see yourself in some of these? Can you feel emotion coming up? Do you feel a bit of heat at the back of your shirt? What is the wisdom that is trying to come through? Because if you're listening to the episode, there will be some form of wisdom for you about perhaps a situation that your soul has been through, even if you haven't discovered it in hypnosis or a regression session or somebody hasn't told you about it yet. The lives of our soul are infinite. I believe as a human being, it is fundamental to understand your own mental body. So what is occurring as a mental level, because when we understand our mind, we understand the consciousness that makes us an eternal being, and we understand how it is that thoughts can impact us across many lifetimes. And the whole reason that we care about thoughts and emotions is because we want to be living in the now moment, the present moment. And it is impossible to be anchored in and grounded into the present moment if your mind and your emotions are flaring up and reacting to things from other moments in time, from other incarnations. So it's the only reason that we do the work is to clear these energetic imprints to allow you to live and be present in the present moment. That's the reason. Humanity needs to understand the importance of the dark moments in the soul's history. These are the teaching moments. When you study only the success of mankind, the victors and the victories, you miss the wisdom of humanity. When humans push these moments down or fail to share them, they become embarrassed about who they are and who they have been. Look at the agony as well as the ecstasy in your soul's development. Because we as a society have become addicted to the ecstasy. We can see this in the proliferation of mental health issues as we all believe that life must be or should be perfect, happy, an elation of sticky happiness, sugar-coated. We all become addicted to cell phones, to moments of escape, and to substances that can help us escape our lives because we believe that we're doing it wrong. We believe that it should be easier. We believe that suffering is a sign that we're on the wrong path, that we're doing the wrong thing, that we don't understand, that we're confused. But the truth is, each time you try and medicate yourself with just the happiness, you miss the wisdom that your soul is desperately trying to help you with. It is in these sticky moments that we find the truth, if we are willing to confront them. The lesson of duality is to not be afraid of the darkness, because all is one. There is light and there is dark, and they are but two different sides of a coin. We have to learn to rejoice, for the light is our true nature. However, all of us need to understand the wisdom of the darkness in order to understand duality and reality.
You down to the room where they'd like us to begin today. Just let me know when they've got you there.
Looks different today.
I had a feeling we weren't going directly to your normal room. Yep.
It's gold. Very masculine. And it's got circles of red in it.
Okay.
So it's all in rectangles. But the only other color other than gold is red in these circles.
Okay.
Like when you see, analogy is coming straight away. You know when you go into, or you walk past a really high-end jewelry store and you're like, oh, that's just so masculine.
Yep.
And you think, yeah, but it's supposed to be sold to a female, but it's masculine jewelry. Like, almost not as bad as Mr. T, but
Yep.
oh, sorry, crack myself up. Anyway, yes.
Okay. All right then. Okay. Can you see anything else?
A latch.
Okay.
Like old-fashioned
Yep.
necklaces used to have the clasp to go across the back so the necklace wouldn't come undone.
Yep.
It's like that, but it's horizontal, gold, and it locks into the red thing again, which is like red ruby or something like that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Do you feel that you're able to open the latch?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Going into a booth.
Okay. So going forward.
Hmm.
What's the first thing? Feel, know.
That latch has turned into what you would lift up to open the door to an old-fashioned carriage.
Okay.
It's not the right thing. Cinderella's pumpkin turned into a carriage.
Yep.
That kind of a
Yep.
carriage.
Okay.
Be weird.
Are you getting into the carriage?
So,
Do you have a sense of where you're going?
not yet.
Okay.
It's not like a dainty carriage inside. It's like has more of a boxy, squarey,
Practical?
vaulty, men's only.
Okay.
Imagery is confused, but if you could imagine, doesn't match yet, but we'll get there. If you could imagine an Arab with a long tea towel,
Mhm. Yep.
smoking a cigar inside a square box inside a carriage. Oh yeah, that's confusing.
Inside a box, inside a carriage.
Like a, if you imagine that, so imagine like a limousine, the inside of a limousine, but
Mm,
put that inside the carriage. So it's got a real masculine, heavy padded
Okay.
boys' club
Interior.
interior.
Yep. Okay.
It's no Cinderella carriage.
Yep. And are you the Arab?
No, the Arab was just like to give
And
the feeling.
imagery? Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
But can you tell me anything about you? Don't stress if we can't yet. We'll move on. Do you
No,
know if it's your carriage or is it somebody else's?
I feel like it's somebody else's because I got into it.
Hmm? Okay. Somebody important?
I feel like the person who's sitting in the carriage is going somewhere and like I get to jump in the carriage for 5 minutes, say something, and then jump out. This is my scheduled time, and they're
Okay.
busy.
Okay.
Like this person is so busy that they still have meetings when they're traveling.
Yep.
Oh, I see. Go in the carriage, you have your meeting, and then there's like I've got the image of a horse that you jump onto the horse afterwards and bolt away and do whatever they want you to do. And their carriage keeps moving on and you go off and do whatever it was.
Okay. Can you sense what you're being told to do?
box. Want to collect a box that is gold on the outside with the clasp, and then inside is red velvet.
What does the box have inside it? Do you know?
I
Apart
feel like the
from
box has a ring
okay,
that's very masculine that is used as a seal.
okay. So is this like a king seal, or do you get the feeling that it's like a papal seal, like church related, or something else?
It's definitely used instead of a signature.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely got symbols on it, a bit like how the pharaohs use symbols for their name, but it's not hieroglyphics. It's got some kind of symbolism that they stamp in the red wax again. Red's the key color here everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
I know definitely that the person in the carriage was smoking a big fat cigar.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they use this cigar also if they're mad as a burning tool. Like they'll stub it on your hand if you're not careful, if you displease them.
Oh wow, okay, yep.
Keep seeing when I said the box originally, I got conflicted because I saw an envelope at the same time. I
Mm-hmm.
feel like maybe this person had a letter to send or a document to send,
Yep.
and they brought it with them in the carriage to seal it and sign it, and then they were finished with their business.
Yep.
Like maybe this was the last item of
Yep. The finalization. Yep.
business for the day.
Katische here again. So, what I'm talking about is something that I remember from childhood, but it didn't occur to me the significance right now. When I was growing up, it's probably the tail end in the 1980s of the popularity of signet rings. I remember that one of my friends had a little signet ring that she wore on her pinky finger, and always thinking, I want one, but not knowing why. Now, according to a website, rosarypoetry.com, a signet ring is simple in shape, usually round or oval, and is stamped with family crests, initials, floral motifs, beasts, crowns, crosses, or other designs. It is a symbol of royalty, status, and power, and are often worn on the little finger of the left hand. Signet stamp rings originated in Europe during the Middle Ages, when nobles, merchants, and politicians would wear these rings in order to be able to handle their businesses at all times. Back then, they would write a letter, seal it with hot wax, and then use the signet ring to stamp a signature on it to prove authenticity of the letter. However, rosarypoetry.com continues saying, this seemingly simple piece of jewelry actually has a very long history. Its appearance can be traced back as far as 3500 BC in Mesopotamian times. During the ancient Egyptian period, the pharaohs made stamp seals smaller and began to wear them on their hands. This is considered by many scholars to be the earliest form of signet rings. By the Middle Ages, the signet ring had become the equivalent of a signature and was used by nobles and officials of high status to sign letters and documents. In the 14th century, King Edward II of England issued a decree stating that all official documents must be stamped with the king's signet ring. Over time, the signet ring has become less functional and more of a symbol of family heritage and social status. In the 2010 film The King's Speech, Colin Firth's George VI was wearing a signet ring, and the real George VI was wearing a signet ring throughout the years too. George VI's grandson, Prince Charles, has worn a signet ring of symbol status since the 1970s, when he was officially crowned Prince of Wales by the Queen. 3 ostrich feather motifs on the ring are the very symbol of the Prince of Wales' power. From the 18th century onwards, the signet ring was no longer just a jewel reserved for nobility. Due to its special meaning, the signet ring became a gentleman's ring. Nouveau rich began to create their own signet rings as a symbol of status. For example, we see Al Pacino wear a signet ring in The Godfather Part 3, and in The Great Gatsby, Leonardo's character wears a signet ring, which is made of black onyx. So, I just wanted to put in that interesting historical context of the signet ring.
But I don't. This person is being kept in the dark. I don't see their face or features or anything about them. I don't. Maybe it's
Do
not
you
important.
feel
They
that
are.
it's shady business that they're doing, or just that is not important to what's happening?
I can't figure it out. I figure that it's
So just relax into it.
not a king and it's not a pope,
Okay.
but it has the same kind of energy.
Okay.
So when you said pope, I was like, ooh, but then I was like, no, it's not pope,
Mm.
but it's that similar sort of authority.
Okay. Do you feel that it's church related in any way? Could it be like an archbishop or somebody high up in the clergy?
No,
Okay.
it's carriage is the maybe caravan is a better word. Like courage connotes British history. It's not British history.
Okay.
It's
Is it more Arab?
it's more Middle Eastern, European,
Okay.
but because I can't see the person's face.
Try, is there windows in the carriage for you to look out of?
No, because I'm not on the carriage anymore. It's gone.
Okay.
I went on the horse.
Okay. All right. So you're on the horse, your surroundings, what did you see, or what can you see or feel or sense? Does it feel like forest? Does it feel like desert? Does it
Desert.
feel... Okay.
Feels like putting something in a cave.
Okay.
I'm not posting this letter. It's not being delivered to anyone. It's kind of, I know. It's somebody just changed their will.
Okay. And this is like their vault that
Yeah.
you're in? Yep. And you still have no sense of who it is that you did this for.
No.
Okay. Do you get the sense that this is the sort of work you did regularly?
I feel like I keep the inventory.
Okay. Okay. So it's your job to keep those records.
Yeah.
Okay. So do you think that you're able to jump forward a little bit in this timeline to a point where there is something significant that happens to you that you need to know about, that is going to help understand your issues, your physical issues you're having when you're transcribing today as Katische? We'll ask your record keeper if they can assist you. I'll ask your guides and angels to come in and also assist us to get you to that point that we need to see to help give you understanding today.
Just keep seeing and hearing the words like Alibaba and the 40 Thieves, or whatever that is, that story.
Yeah.
I keep seeing treasure. I see a quill with feather.
Mhm. And do you see yourself like making a list of what's there? Does that feel like what you do?
Something like that, yeah.
Okay.
I feel like this is literally a cave. Okay, I finally got to see there's a book that I'm writing this in.
Okay.
There's a book.
Excellent.
I've been waiting for that because I couldn't see what.
Yep.
It's a book that's when something's not pewter, but it's the outside is like somewhere between gold and silver and green. It's like that.
Yep. Patinaed.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's highly decorated. The pages of the book they're not decorated. This is the outside is beautiful, but it's business.
Yep. Okay.
I got the feeling, I got the image of when I did a money meditation once, I was taken to a cave where a dragon was protecting gold, like in Lord of the Rings.
Yep.
And I felt the emotion of greedy. I feel like this person stolen treasures greedy.
Okay. And you're there to keep a record of what is done.
Hmm?
Hmm. And you've already got the sense that if you displease him, he's quick to
Yeah, I can see red welts
physically,
on my knuckles.
yep, punish. Okay. Okay.
Mhm.
Gonna ask your guides if they can help a little bit more with the understanding that you need to get from this lifetime.
I keep the red is rubies, right?
Hmm.
And so the rubies is on the outside of the vault. The interior of the carriage was ruby red. The lock on the outside, everything's ruby red. Like the red is very significant.
Also, red welts on your hand.
Yeah, everything's to do with red. Okay. There's also, I don't know if it's me or him. I'm a male. Somebody has definitely, not me. They have, I have, they have a white headdress
Hmm.
that has a white feather
Hmm.
that attaches to a ruby that is encased in gold.
Okay.
There's again more ruby, but the headdress is
Mhm.
very, still can't see their face, but the headdress is very particular.
Mhm.
It's not a crown or anything like that. It's made of fabric, white fabric.
Mhm.
Keep wanting to associate the red also with the red hats that the Sufis wear, but I can't figure out how that's connected yet. It just seems to be this constant theme of the red.
Mhm. So
I
rather,
can't tell that I don't feel like there's spiritual things in here. I feel it's like just the Alibaba theme, the
Mhm. Yep.
stealing treasures that
Yep.
are of the material kind.
Yep.
Gold, rubies, jewels. It's not, there's no sacred scriptures or manuscripts, or I'm not getting any of that. Feeling very nauseous all of a sudden.
Can we try tackling this from, so you've taken and placed this envelope in the vault, you're keeping the records of everything in there. What do you do like when your work time is finished? Can you see if you can see any
I'm,
of
I'm not allowed to leave.
Okay. So you're permanently there unless you're called to the carriage. Is that
That's
what
how
you're
I
saying?
feel. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm guarding it with my life.
Okay.
I think it's the feeling I get. It's kind of like I'm not a prisoner in this cave. Have a nice desk. You
Mhm.
want to put it that way, for the want of a word.
Yep.
I'm quite proud of my station,
Okay.
but the feeling in my tummy says that I feel fear.
Is it
So the feeling that I get is that this is like, I'm not a
extremely high
confidant,
station?
but it's
Very privileged position.
you're not trapped. You're not chained. There are no things on my feet. But it's like
being the right-hand man.
yeah, but also level of knowing that you're dispensable, knowing that everyone else knows that this cave has to exist somewhere, knowing that anyone would easily kill you.
So do you feel like you constantly live in the fear of that?
I feel like the words are, I'm worried that he's getting too greedy. And that will attract undue attention. It was fun. It was interesting and fun when he was just taking a few treasures.
Yep. Okay.
But it feels like it's getting out of hand.
Katische making a comment here. A sub-personality is created to allow a being to cope with a situation. Sub-personality creates a new personality that allows you to be a certain way in certain situations. It's like putting on a mask. It's the hiding of the true self. If it's easier, you can visualize a sub-personality as a series of Russian stacking dolls, each doll being a different sub-personality. John Rowan, who is the author of Sub-Personalities, The People Inside Us, is quoted as saying, a sub-personality is a semi-permanent and semi-autonomous region of the personality capable of acting as a person. So this is where we can see that in this lifetime, the personality has created a sub-personality. So originally it was fun to collect the treasure from the boss and be involved in seeing all the glamorous things that the boss had stolen and to be the person who was in charge of looking after them. However, a sub-personality has been created with the distaste of hedonism. So the personality of the past life is beginning to feel as though the boss is greedy and taking too much.
Do you speak to him about that?
No.
Okay, this is just a fear you keep to yourself.
Mm.
Okay.
I feel like it used to be okay. All right. The analogy I'm getting, and maybe it is, I don't know, is the Crusades. Or any kind of great explorer, they would take treasures on.
Yep.
Yeah. But they would keep it with them until they returned, right?
Yep.
To their home country. I'm feeling like this person is beginning to get a bit paranoid, and that whereas once they used to bring it back with them, that now I have this inconvenience of having to go to where they are, take the item, then come back.
Okay. And
I keep getting the imagery of snakes because I'm getting worried about being away from the cave. That I've started to bring in elements to protect the cave.
Yep.
And maybe snakes? I bring in snakes? I don't know. They don't scare me. But it's, oh God, I feel nauseous.
I was going to say, if you're spending having to spend more time going from the cave and then back, is this increasing your fear that somebody is going to follow you or figure out where the cave is?
Yeah, the word follow, you just got it.
Yep.
Oh, it's right up to my throat now.
Hmm?
Follow. Yep, follow.
Can you see a time when something did happen and you were followed?
Been able to see a gold long sword that curves the whole time.
Do you get the feeling that's your sword or it belongs to somebody else?
I get the feeling that's how I died.
Yep.
I don't.
Can you see more into that?
I don't think I knew. The sword is definitely the curved round sword. Not round, how can you have the
Yep.
curved golden sword. Definitely see blood pouring over the inventory.
Mhm.
I don't get any feeling of ransacking or robbing.
Okay.
Um,
So do you feel you were killed for another reason?
there's something in my pocket.
And is that what they're after?
I think I don't know whether I stole it or I had something in my pocket that I was going to inventorize but didn't. There's definitely something in my right pocket that I am killed for.
Are you able to reach into your right pocket and pull it out so that you can see it?
It's like you have an old-fashioned drinks trolley that has the decanters that have the stopper in them that are made of crystal.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that, but it's a ruby.
Okay.
It's large and it's in a stopper shape.
Yep.
What it is, I don't know, but that's what it looks like.
Yep. If you think about this ruby stopper, if you just concentrate on it for a moment, do you get the sense that you were going to put it in the inventory? Or had you had thoughts of actually keeping it for yourself?
I think it is a mesmerizing object.
Hmm?
I feel like this cave doesn't have special precious cupboards, and this items aren't stored in a beautiful way.
Hmm?
And I feel like I felt this was too good to just throw with the rest. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But in that regard, did that mean that you were going to keep it somewhere else for your own pleasure? Or
What is
you
coming
just wanted it displayed better?
what I'm seeing is the ruby is not just a ruby. When I
Okay.
look into the when I look into the ruby, it has powers, and he doesn't realize it.
Hmm.
That's why I kind of get mesmerized by it. It's not a portal, but it's very powerful. It's like you stare into this ruby, you can see things. I want to say it's like the equivalent of, you know how people talk about Lemurian crystals
Yep.
or
Yep.
the old-fashioned genie
Yep.
in the lamp. It's like
Yep.
there's something that mesmerizes me that I can't quite figure out, and I feel like it's addictive. Like I'm getting like how Frodo gets
Yep. By the
very
ring. Yep.
possessive of the ring.
Hmm?
Like there's something about this ruby stopper thing.
So are you able to see more further forward in the timeline? What happens with this addiction to this ruby stopper and to you? Are you stabbed? With the golden long curved sword? Was it your blood that was spilled?
I feel like it's a bit like The Alchemist.
Hmm?
I feel like the golden sword is put up against my throat and I reach the ruby to stab that man in the throat at the same time.
Okay.
Like I end up using it as a weapon.
Yep. Can you see the outcome of that?
No. I feel like I don't feel like my aim was successful.
It was or it wasn't?
Wasn't.
Okay.
I feel like this ruby is a bit like the Ankh. It's like
A key?
I feel like I discover something to do with its spiritual powers, and I don't believe that this person deserves to have it.
Hmm?
I don't trust them with it
Mhm.
because I see them essentially as a glorified thug.
Yep.
I think I just think he slashes my head off
Okay.
because when I first had a sensation about the dizziness and all that, I got a feeling that it doesn't fit in. This is a karmic link. This sword is, like, in this life, the sword kills me. In the next life, I don't use the sword myself, but I use the same sword to kill somebody else.
Yep.
I felt that very clearly. I felt very clearly as I saw, can't see my face, but I saw the head bounce. Katische with another comment. So, as you've been able to hear, the fear has been getting stronger and stronger as this scene in the regression session is building up. And at the moment of death, when this past life personality sees the golden sword, something triggers in the subconscious mind that links what I'll explain in a minute, the karmic link between the swords of many lifetimes, and knows that they are about to be killed because they have the ruby in their pocket. They also know that they did not intend to steal it, but they have just been mesmerized by the beauty and the knowledge associated with the ruby crystal. And so because of this, there's this tussle of the personality between the I am the person who files and keeps the records of these beautiful treasures to suddenly I am the thief.
So you can see how that is the conflict when there was no intention to steal. So this moment of realization that this personality is going to be killed for this, which is in essentially an accident because it's not the intention, creates a self-induced poltergeist. And this poltergeist is created at the moment of death when the sword is seen. There's a second component here in that a mind fragment is created. And the mind fragment is, I've just figured out the ruby crystal and how to use it, and now I'm going to die. So it's an energetic imprint of fear on all future eureka moments where sacred knowledge is concerned. The other thing that's about to happen is a toxic mental current. It's not safe to use crystals for their intended spiritual purpose because you die or you get murdered for it. Okay, so we can see that this is all swirling around in his head at that time. And a tulpa is also created, which is the thought of fear. It's going to hurt when we get to the sword. We know in advance that this personality of this past life knows that the sword is going to slice his head off and it's going to hurt. What does this happen to the superconscious mind? Spiritual knowledge hurts because the spiritual knowledge is contained inside the ruby crystal, and simultaneously as the head is sliced off or about to be sliced off, there's a tulpa of fear which superimposes at the same time with a poltergeist, which works with a mind fragment and a toxic mental current to create a very deep energetic imprint surrounding the use of ruby crystals for spiritual knowledge and the fact that having insights into spiritual concepts that are hidden within crystals, so hidden spiritual knowledge, these are dangerous for the soul to have because as soon as you have a spiritual realization, a eureka moment, you're likely to lose your head.
Yep.
But
Wondering if we can ask your guides to see if they can make it clear to you. Have you been shown all this
is he still in the cave?
to be shown this karmic link between lives?
I don't know, but I really feel like he is. I'm starting to feel emotional because it's
Just bleeping over the name of the person.
very particular with giving jewels to his wives. It was a way he demonstrated love,
Mhm.
and it was never appreciated.
Mhm.
They always wanted more.
Yep.
They were never satisfied.
Mhm.
And I in a way was no different than this person, this other, not the file keeper, but the other dude who stole the treasures because as I shipped out one wife, I took her jewels back from her, reconfigured them, and gave them to the next wife.
Okay.
It's like I stole back the treasures.
Yep. Yep.
I feel like I've got tears coming down my face, but I feel like there's this. I can't tell you how many rubies I have been given over my lifetime. Rubies, garnets. It's quite significant. I have a piece upstairs right now, which was handed that my aunt gave my grandmother, and I got after my grandmother died, which is a cameo, which I always wanted, which is surrounded by, I don't know whether it's rubies or garnets
Okay.
that I've never worn. My first pair of earrings that were handed down through my maternal line were these garnet rubies. Every ring that I got from my grandmother were rubies or garnets.
Okay.
Something bloody connected to that stone. I feel like the lesson here is that it was like there's the greed, there's the using the stones for treasure's sake and for beauty's sake, which there's nothing wrong with using them for beauty's sake to put in a beautiful piece of jewelry, but I feel like this dude that was doing the inventory, I feel like this dude unlocked something of like Raymond in the tower accidentally unlocked the 100 evil black magicians, mentally opened that book and told him that spell.
Yep.
It's like this ruby, by looking at it, unlocked something sacred, but I don't feel like it's not a negative thing. It's not a negative portal. I don't see negative energy. I feel like there's some wisdom that's trying to come through about the energy of the stones, the wisdom, the secrets trapped in the stone. Something about using stones for the wisdom, not for. If you go to the Windsor Castle, you can go watch all the. You can go look at all the royal jewels, right? And they're both symbolic, but they're also just simply symbols of wealth.
Yep.
And I feel like this guy, it's like a flower is a flower, and you put it in a bouquet and you give it to people. But also, if you want to, every flower has a different meaning. And like the Queen, always, every bouquet she ever held, and even on her coffin, all the flowers had a special meaning.
Yep.
And I feel like there was this chance here to connect with this stone. And I'm getting like romancing the stone, like the movie.
Yep.
a song just came into my head. I feel like this was a pivotal moment of knowledge that got
Lost?
lost.
So then the next question is this something that you are supposed to now tap into?
I get no.
Okay. So then I'll ask the next question. Is this something you're supposed to help somebody else tap into?
No, I feel like I've done this already in a different lifetime.
Okay.
I think that I'm really feeling that nausea in my stomach. I feel that this is connected to the nausea I feel about money. And
Can you see yourself at that point, right as you're beheaded? Do you feel that you made yourself any sort of vows or promises there about this greed?
Okay, so if you're taking notes here, we're about to get into the limiting beliefs. And you need to understand that these limiting beliefs are so toxic to the system because they have been embedded time after time, incarnation after incarnation after incarnation, that they become a mind poison.
Can you
again,
see?
I will never be. It's like I will never be wealthy like this, or anything that I get, I will give away, or wealth disgusts me. Wealth makes me feel sick. Wealth sickens me.
Okay,
Wealth
there it is.
sickens me.
There it is.
Wealth sickens me. Yep, I feel like I want to hurl. Wealth sickens me.
Okay. All right.
Wealth sickens me. Yeah.
So we
Oh, that's
need
strong.
to
Oh. And that links back to the vomiting and all different lifetimes.
we need to release that, cut that cord, release that lifeline.
Like it's curled up like a snake in my stomach.
Okay.
It's like a poison.
So, again, another comment. I've literally used the words there, it's like a poison. And when we have deep energetic imprints about a certain thing, in this case, fear, it becomes a mind poison. And that's a Buddhist terminology, but you can basically get the idea there. It's so toxic. This mental current, these mental thoughts, this tulpas so deep it actually becomes poisonous to your mental body and emotional body and physical body as well. That's the mind poison that has just been discovered there.
Okay. So what we might do, if it's like a poison in your stomach, what we might do is I'm just going to call in the archangels and I'm going to get them to make you a special elixir for that poison.
I'm
Okay?
still in the cave.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. They're going to come to you.
No, I haven't crossed over.
And that's just where we discovered that we did not go to the light after our death. It was so traumatic that we remained behind. I've even said it in the third person now, we. I remained behind as a ghost, and that poltergeist was also there. The poltergeist was removed in 2024, so that's how long it took to personally myself understand this content so deeply that I could then go back, identify the various psychological constructs, heal them, and then also cross over and reintegrate that poltergeist. Interestingly, I also discovered that the person who murdered me in that past life, who I had a future incarnation with, actually created a poltergeist for themselves at the time that they sliced off my head because of the actual ferocity of the emotion involved with the concept that my employee is stealing from me, or that's my Ruby, how dare you, you thief, that kind of emotion. And their emotion was so intense, their perception of feelings about wealth and people stealing from them, that they self poltergeist in that moment. What is interesting is knowing myself who that person is in the future. It's part of a cycle where the two of us presented in similar situations in many incarnations, and we both lose our heads. And that concept of seeing the head bounce that I spoke about previously shows me, in my mind, the linkages between several incarnations. I can see it viscerally and emotionally. It makes me want to throw up when I see it in this part of the regression session. Is I can see the other lifetimes where I've had my head sliced off, and I can literally see my head bouncing. And then I can also see the people who are in the reverse karma with me, and when they lost their lives through heads being sliced off, because you have to experience both sides of it. And if you don't heal, it happens to you. And I can see their heads bouncing off too. So it's a really quite traumatic moment in my soul's history in this incarnation. Sorry to share that with you, but I think it helps you really viscerally imagine the impact and the depth of these emotional imprints on the soul.
Okay. That's okay. Have you been beheaded? Or is it just before?
I don't know. I just caught up in the stomach sensations now.
Okay. All right. Okay, I'm going to call the archangels to come to you in that lifetime in the cave. Okay? So they can come and be with you to ease that pain. They're going to make a magic elixir for you to counteract that poison of wealth sickens you. So they're going to mix it up right there in the cave for you. Can you see them?
I feel like they pour it in through the vagus nerve, like its stomach. It's
Yep.
like
Excellent. Good.
it's after.
Good. Good. Can you feel it easing and dissolving away?
Feel it turned into sand.
Excellent.
The sand. That's gone.
Excellent. Very good. Okay. All right. Can you see yourself stepping back out of this lifetime now? Coming back?
And the room's gone.
Yep. Excellent. Good.
Need to go
Okay.
to the fountain.
Yep. Let's do that. And get yourself completely washed and covered over with the
Pieces
violet
is there.
flame. Excellent. Feel that flame completely restoring you. The violet flame washing over you, healing you, restoring you back to full. Filling you up with beautiful golden white light. Bringing you peace, and bathe in it for as long as you need until you feel whole again.
Before we go into the next part of the regression session, I have to warn you that this is a little bit distressing and very weird. But I want to reassure you that what you're about to hear or see is the way that my mind is so desperate to get this information out that I have to physically see myself in a non-local state giving birth to this information. So what you're about to witness is not me truly having this past life self inside of my physical body as me, Katische Haberfield, but it is the past life self, the other incarnation, this multidimensional being who resided, I believe, in the foot of the Sphinx, really, 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 really wanted me to get the information through, and my mind was blocking it so desperately that the only way that it could conceive, that my soul could conceive to get this information through, was to use my mind to create a illusion, a form of delusion, whereby I imagined myself pregnant with my past life self. And in order to get the information out, the wisdom out, I had to give birth to it. And I guess that's what we women deal with in menopause, is giving birth to the next phase of our lifetime. So please understand, I don't physically give birth to an alien or a multidimensional being. I have to give birth to the wisdom. No multidimensional beings were harmed in the next portion of this episode, and I wasn't harmed. I was just distressed due to the mind delusion that was created. Thank you.
I feel like I need to lie down on the table.
Okay. Do you feel like you need to go to the healing room table?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do that.
I feel like I need to dig something out.
Yep. From your stomach?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So you hop on the table and they will.
I need you to check under my feet as well.
Okay.
I'm about to go out.
Okay, so if you're watching this version on Spotify or YouTube, you will have just seen me lose consciousness. So I was sitting in the chair in a trance, hypnotic trance, altered state of consciousness, and I suddenly fling my head backwards and go into a complete unconscious state. And what you're going to hear now will be rather distressing, but it is for those who can channel and have learnt to channel. What you're about to hear is the battle of the personality, the ego of Katische, fighting with the soul of Katische, who wants to channel the Narwhal, who has the precious wisdom that is about to come out. Because I resist, the Narwhal can't get the words out and can only be heard in terms of the groans and throat noises that I make. And my free will is stronger than the Narwhal's free will, and I regain consciousness to the level of being in a trance. But that's why you'll find the next section is very distressing, and I will break it up so you can hear what the Narwhal actually says. But had I not resisted, then I could have channeled the wisdom from the Narwhal, and I would have not had to go through the next phase, which is the giving birth to the what I call the alien, which is a Narwhal.
Yeah. What do you feel is under your feet? Wow, okay. You're okay. You're safe. They're working on you.
So when I analyse that garble, because I have analysed many times the silent spaces in past life regressions to be able to hear the voice of ghosts and past life personality voices trying to tell us something, I heard the narwhal say, "Help me." And what the narwhal is trying to say is, stop freaking resisting so I can talk. The only way that you'll be able to hear him say "help me" is if you have headphones on, because it's very difficult to hear otherwise.
They're removing it all. You're okay. It's okay. You're safe. You're protected. It's okay. Yeah. Breathe deeply.
And breathe. That was a little intense, wasn't it? So what I wanted to share with you now was a couple of excerpted clips from all of that warbling of my throat, where the narwhal reveals that he's a narwhal, his name is Arjun, and then he begs me to please stop, to please allow him to speak, which kind of makes me feel sad now, but I can understand that this was my first experience channeling, and not only was it not an entity strange to myself, but it was another dimensional version of myself, so quite a lot for little Katische to deal with in one regression session. Again, you'll need your headphones to hear.
What is that child thing? It's like it's like I've been sawed in half. Like you saw down a sarcophagus in half, and in the inside of the middle is like an alien baby or a baby or something. Is a fetus or a baby or a creature?
Yep.
What is it?
Just remember you're safe. You're safe. It's being taken care of and removed.
It's whatever the Coke was incubating.
Just remember you're safe and you can leave at any time if this is too uncomfortable. You're in complete control.
I think under my feet were like the stirrups, like in the old bad days when they used to put women on the table to
Yep.
give birth.
Yep.
Okay, so that little bit just said, please don't forget me. And the Narwhal was getting a bit panicked because he thought that I would leave the session here and never want to mentally think about this ever again. It's quite sad, really, because it's just my fear that's got in the road.
Can you see at all what it was now?
I just see like a thing, a baby. It's not human, it's an oid. It's galactic. It's not evil though. It says sorry. This connected is definitely Egyptian connected though.
Yep.
It's pyramid connected. Communication connected. Its purpose was scribe. It was a
Mhm.
scribe. It's got something to do with thing that they think is underneath the left right paw foot of the Sphinx. It was a document. It's like it's a documenter of the. It's a documenter. It's a documenter of the all the civilizations that have had contact with the Earth. Teacher of knowledge. It's like a record keeper. Like an Akashic record keeper. But not an Akashic record keeper. It's the soul keeper of like the stamper reincarnation, but the stamper of beings who have come to Earth to teach, to crash land, to document, to do whatever. This baby is not a baby, but it is the record keeper of all contact.
Are you able to ask, is this why you have so much trouble with your transcribing? Has this been the problem? Has he been the cause?
Is why I'm interested.
Is he also the reason for the physical reactions to it?
It's an agreement. It's not a hostile thing.
Hmm? But has it also caused you the physical reactions?
Well, it's an energy overload. It's like short circuiting
Yep.
the system.
Okay. Yep.
It's like short-circuiting. It's like
Yep.
I agreed to allow him to do his job, and he can't do his job when I try to do my job.
Yep.
To try to work within the physical confines of a human body. The only word I get is a short circuit. Like I'm seeing like
Yep.
scalar energy and Tesla sitting under that gigantic antenna thing that he built.
Yep.
And it's like it just short circuits.
Okay. So now that he is out of you, what is going to happen moving forward in this regard?
They're going to find what they've been looking for under the six.
Okay.
Job's done.
Okay. So that you can now go forward and do your own work.
There is enough. There's enough. There's enough. Oh. I feel like I want to say there's enough people here now that have. Sorry, I'm getting golden
Okay.
light coats.
Yep.
Oh, I've never had them before. Like you've had.
It's fun, isn't it?
There's enough people. Oh, sorry, distracted. There's enough people who have been around enough dimensions. Oh, I can see like a sonar. It's like, oh, it's like a combination between seeing, oh, symbol for Toth. Oh, it's like seeing the northern lights combined with a pregnancy sonar. Oh my god.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, it's sonar images. It's like it's just like I want to say. Oh, okay. Here's the connection. The sonar is the sonar of the Earth. Yeah, they're showing me multiple sonars now.
Okay, yep.
They're showing me. Okay. They're showing me it's time for. Like a guy is ready to reveal the secret codes that are stored in the Earth. It's like part of the job was the galactics encoded the Earth
Hmm?
with knowledge
Yep.
that we needed
Yep.
until there was enough people
Yep.
ready.
Yep.
Oh, very bright light now. Oh. And that's why it was okay to go, because it's all recorded.
Yep.
And,
The job's done.
the wisdom is in the earth.
Yep. Okay.
So Mother Mary in bubble form. That was weird. It's like just get the word integrated. Get the word praised, no harm intended. I get flashing through my mind the technological advances that we've got through in 100 years.
Mhm.
Get a sense of a volcanic eruption though, like there's got to be a big shift that erupts in order for the next leap. But it's not like a volcano erupting, but it's the analogy. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yep.
it's coming out, it's ready to come out, it's ready to erupt. It's like,
Yep.
it's not this new age ascension bullshit. It's like, sorry. It's just ready. It's like the crystals are ready to give the next level of knowledge. It's like,
Yep.
what we think the meanings are, there's so much more. It's like what I said, people were able to stare into the ruby or the crystal or the whatever it is. Now they will be able to transport knowledge through all dimensions.
Okay.
They won't realize at first that's what they're doing.
Okay.
I get it's like for some people this is going straight into the soul blueprint and it may take several incarnations for it to come out.
Yep.
It's like they look into the crystal and it activates something in the soul blueprint
Yep.
that will bring forth whatever it is that soul needs in either this incarnation or one of the other parallel ones.
Mhm.
I get the word breakthrough. This is about breakthroughs in technology, health. It's not about spiritual ascension. It's about being smarter with what Gaia has to offer.
Okay.
It's about harnessing the knowledge of the earth. So where we may have dug the earth to get coal to burn fires, it's
Mhm.
like what that was. It Guide 101 to coal. It's like I get the same where we may have mined the earth for diamonds to put on our fingers. This is about the next level of intelligence of what you should actually be doing with a diamond.
Okay.
About moving past the greed.
So more about using it for its knowledge than its
Yeah.
physical properties.
Using knowledge to create equanimity.
Okay.
To pure anger of hearts to like I get like somebody who has acid reflux takes a quickies tablet.
Mhm.
It's like the quickies tablet for the violence and the war that civilization on Earth has had, which most of the other civilizations don't have.
Yep.
It's a karma, like not Karma, karma, Calmer,
Yep.
karma. And that is all.
Wow. That's a bit.
We're done.
Just like that.
Sorry, we're done. Yep.
That's okay.
So, the last thing that I wanted to comment on in this podcast episode is about the mind poison. What you just witnessed was how a limiting belief became a mind poison and a somatic experience. The limiting belief of wealth sickens me becomes a mind poison because of the many lifetimes that I experience the limiting belief. Thus, it leaves deep energetic imprints in all energy bodies. This thought and emotion has now become embodied as a psychological response that somatically makes me physically sick. And that is why we call it not just a limiting belief, but a mind poison.
So I hope you found that interesting and weren't too revolted by it, but that's an example using my own case study of how psychological constructs are really important to be analyzed and healed so that you can move forward. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact me on Facebook or via my email, which is simply hello@katische.com. Head to katische.com to book a session